Next speaker is Neil Kolwey with SWEEP, Southwest Energy Efficiency Project. Neil and I have known each other for a very long time, worked at eSource together, and he's going to be talking about something about pot. Yeah. Welcome to the stage, Neil.
In November of 2012, Colorado voters approved the legalization of recreational marijuana. Woo! And since the new regs were implemented in 2014, sales and consumption have increased dramatically. Last November, we had another election that affected marijuana consumption, especially in Boulder and Denver, and in my own house. Anyway, it turns out that growing that much marijuana also takes a lot of energy. For indoor grows, which are currently about 75% of all the grow ops in Colorado, energy costs are 20 to 50% of total operating costs, which is huge. But there are many opportunities to improve this through improved energy efficiency. Most of the energy costs are for cooling and dehumidification and for lighting, which together accounts for about 89% of the total. There are three main stages of growing weed, starting with the seedling or germination phase, the vegetative stage, and then the flowering stage. And most of the energy is consumed in the vegetative and flower rooms. The vegetative rooms use lighting for 18 to 24 hours a day. The flower rooms use more intensive lighting for 12 hours a day and have lower humidity requirements to avoid problems with fungus and mildew. Now, the best opportunity to make any changes is during the design phase. Once a grow is set up and running, it's tough to make changes because they generally don't want to disrupt production, and they require a short payback period, like 2 years or less, so it's tough. So what are some of the opportunities? Let's start with lighting. In the vegetative rooms, we can save 50% of the lighting energy by switching to LEDs, and it works very well compared to the standard, which is generally metal halides. And the flower rooms, the most efficient options are double-ended high-pressure sodium or LEDs. And to decide which is better, we need to compare the photon efficiency. And if we do that, it turns out that the best double-ended HPS fixtures are just as efficient as the LEDs and are actually much cheaper. And they still save at least 20% compared to the standard HPS fixtures. For cooling and dehumidification, the standard practice is to use rooftop air conditioning units and portable dehumidifiers in the flower rooms like the one shown here at the end of the aisle. And that's a very inefficient practice. So for medium-sized and larger grows, a well-designed chilled water system can save 25 to 30% of the energy needed compared to the standard system just described. And by designing for the vapor pressure deficit rather than relative humidity and allowing slightly higher temperatures, the HVAC systems can be sized much smaller and will save a lot of energy. So if we implement all these best practices just mentioned, indoor grows can save up to 40% of the total energy needed to produce good quality weed. But greenhouses can save 60 to 75% of the energy compared to an indoor grow. They take advantage of the light of the sun, of course, and they also take advantage of evaporative cooling, which is much more efficient than refrigerant-based cooling. More grows are moving to greenhouses as the competition increases. Now we're coming to the high points, aha. Utilities can provide design assistance to new grows to help them weed out the inefficient designs and provide incentives to help offset the higher costs of the more energy efficient equipment. And despite the stigmas around the cannabis industry, these leading utilities in the Northwest are reaching out to this sector and providing real energy savings. Cities like Boulder and Denver, with their aggressive climate goals, can encourage more greenhouse grows, complement the available utility programs, and encourage more sustainability certifications. And those of us who consume marijuana can make a difference by choosing products that are certified sustainable. And cannabis conservancies label addresses all the areas shown here. And for me, I'm not the most interesting man in the world, and I don't always smoke weed. But when I do, I smoke weed that is certified sustainable.